to this theater in 10 years. And the last time I was at this theater, I think I was watching The King's Speech, and now here I am watching The Father.
Hello everybody and welcome to today's review of The Father. It is the new film directed by Florian Zeller starring Anthony Hopkins and Olivia Colman. The film is centered on an old man named Anthony, played by Anthony Hopkins. He is currently living with his daughter Anne, played by Olivia Colman. Anne is currently in the process of looking for a caretaker to look after her aging father, but Anthony is always insistent that he doesn't need any help, that he doesn't need any assistance. He feels like he is perfectly fine living on his own in his own flat. He is actually in his daughter's flat. So why would he think that he is in his own flat? We later realize that the man is actually suffering from memory loss due to dementia. And throughout the rest of the film, we watch these two characters cope with his disease. Now, I have seen films that tackle dementia or Alzheimer's before, such as Still Alice, Away From Her, Iris, but I tell you, none of those films compared to this one. This is a film that tackles the whole subject of dementia in a completely different way, and I gotta tell you, it is absolutely brilliant. The film was actually adapted from a play written by Florian Zeller, and how he constructed this play was that he literally put the audience within the mindset of the person who is suffering from dementia. There were a few ways to which he was able to achieve this. For example, in the first scene, we see Anne talking to her father about wanting to move to Paris because she just met a new boyfriend. But in the next scene, whenever Anthony brings up Paris, she doesn't even know what he's talking about. Anne is like, Paris? What are you talking about? Hell, we don't know what she's talking about. We just literally heard you say this not long ago. That's just one example. Throughout the course of the film, the apartment itself begins to change. Like in one scene, the walls could be painted one color, but in the next scene, they could be painted another. The furniture starts to change. There's even a scene where Anne returns to the apartment, but instead of being played by Olivia Colman, Anne is being played by Olivia Williams, a completely different actress. This is done in a way to register that Anthony doesn't recognize his own daughter. She doesn't look like her. She doesn't sound like her. This can't be her daughter. I myself actually got confused and a little bit anxious during that scene because just like Anthony, we are meant to believe that we're being gaslit into thinking that we're crazy. Like, why are people telling us these things? Because the reality of the person suffering from dementia is completely different from that of a regular functioning human. And soon things begin to unravel for Anthony. He loses all sense of time, and soon he starts to question everything around him. Anthony Hopkins does a masterful job in this film. You feel his confusion, his anger, and more importantly, you feel his fear. And there are moments when he actually breaks down in tears, and it is so heartbreaking because it is so realistically portrayed. The film does an excellent job in generating a lot of empathy for those who suffer from dementia. Not only that, it also does a great job at balancing the perspectives of not only the sufferer, but also those who care for them. Olivia Colman does a great job at showing this other side of the coin. She is the sympathetic daughter who deeply loves and cares for her father, despite whatever rocky relationship they may have. There are even moments where it is even implied that she has a sister, and it is clear Anne is not the favorite one. But despite all that, Anne deeply loves and wants to care for her father, but there is no doubt that this is also taking a toll on her. Not only does she have to put her own personal life aside, but she has to watch the person that raised her suffer and go crazy, and there's absolutely nothing that she can do about it. And it's absolutely hurtful and frustrating, and Olivia does a great job in embodying that sort of pain. For a character in her situation, she just doesn't know how much of this she can take. Now, Olivia Colman's husband is the opposite of her. He is the unsympathetic character, and I'm glad that this film points out this kind of behavior because it is very human to lose your patience because there is no way that we can understand what this kind of life is like. We cannot comprehend what it's like to lose your memory, to lose all sense of who you are or where you are. You just want these people to be healthy, but they can't. There's no going back. Once you're diagnosed with dementia, it's all downhill from here. There are certain people in this world who are just not equipped to handle that sort of situation. And I'm glad that the film points that out. For those who watch the film, it can help remind people that, life is unpredictable, and in a way it can help prepare you in case something like this should ever happen to you or to a loved one. Occasionally there are moments where the film slows down a bit, and there are moments where we only see characters characters do very mundane things like washing dishes or staring out an open window. But remember what I said, that this was actually adapted from a stage play. You know how like when you're watching a play and at the end of every scene the lights go out and all the set pieces and whatever are being changed? That's probably what it is when you're watching this film. It's essentially a scene transition. Seriously, I don't think I can find anything wrong with this film. I mean, this can be remade so many times and it will still be brilliant because the script is just flawless. You can't go wrong with it. However, I should tell you that this film may not be for everyone. Watching The Father could be a mind-numbing experience because you are literally forced to experience dementia while sitting in your seat. But that was the whole point. It's like watching a Christopher Nolan film, and for those of you who are familiar with his work, films like Memento, Inception, Dunkirk, you know that Christopher Nolan loves to mess with your mind. And this film kind of reminded me of his work, only it's done in a less Hollywood kind of way. This is definitely a European art house film. It's dark, it's gloomy, it's intellectually challenging, and full of ambiguity. I loved The Father. This is easily one of the best films of the year and one of my top 3 favorites of 2020, or I should say the pandemic year because this is technically 2021. Anyway, it's a great film, so I'm gonna give The Father an A+. Thank you for watching my video, ladies and gentlemen. I hope to see you again next time.